welcome to my channel. I realized that I didn't really give you guys an explanation or an overview of what Great Expectations was about when I was talking about it in my other videos, so I thought I would start, since I'm doing this blog on Great Expectations, I thought I would give you a little bit of an overview. This book is about a young boy named Pip who was raised by his sister since they were orphaned, and his sister is married to a guy named Joe, and it's about Pip wanting, excuse me, ladies, Pip wanting to become a higher station. He wants to be more than a blacksmith. He was not feeling very content. And then a woman called Miss Heversham decides that she wants some company for her adopted daughter Estella, and so she invites Pip to come and join them. And when she finds out that Pip wants to be a gentleman, she hatches this plan, and it's nefarious, but we are not really quite sure of that at the beginning of the book. But she wants to bring about not good things for Pip, and so she decides to try to turn him into a gentleman, and it's about the adventures of like how this affects him, how it affects his family, things like that. And it's a very interesting story, and the Great Expectations, the title, of course, has to do with these themes. So hopefully that wasn't too spoilery, but it's an old book, so if you don't know what it's about by now, I'm sorry. But all right, well, that's what Great Expectations is about, and I hope you will stick with me for this vlog. And by the end of it, I will give you guys my final thoughts and maybe some of my favorite quotes that has to do with this Great Expectations. Okay, thank you. It is Sunday right now, and I'm going to sit down and I'm going to read a little bit more of Great Expectations before lunch. And I'm on page 146. So let's see how well I get on. I just got home from work. It is the next day and first day back to work from after spring break, so it's been a little crazy, but excuse the appearance. This is what my kids do to me every day. It's the best, but that's okay. I got 191 pages into Great Expectations, which I'm really loving so far. We see some good growth from Pip, if not in the right direction in a way, but he's starting to notice things and he's getting into society. The Great Expectations is really coming across over and over again as an imagery, that his expectations of what he wants his life to be like, and what other people's expectations of him are different. And so we get to see Pip kind of fight against what other people want for him. And I think we're going to find that he's not even sure if he's happy with what he's chosen, which is to not take over his stepfather, Joe. Not to take over his job when he retires, and to kind of stay in their community. He wants to move up in the world and go to London, and I think that he's going to he's starting to experience that side of life and how it's not what he thought it was going to be. And London is not as pretty, and it's dirty and grimy, and some of the people there are kind of, they look nice, but they're not as nice or genuine at all, of the people that he's used to. So we get to see that kind of affect his dealing with people, but he's also enjoying the education, because he's getting education now. He's getting more access to things, so he's enjoying that. But I think that he's more and more feeling isolated, which I'm very good to see, because hopefully that will spark some growth in him and kind of change his expectations a little bit and what he wants out of life. But we'll see. So I'm excited to see what happens, and excited to see if he actually does grow and become a better person. And he's not a bad person. I'm not saying that. I'm just saying that he's a confused young man trying to find his way in the world, and that cannot always look the best, right? That can be messy, just like life is messy. So I enjoy that. So I'm enjoying this story, and it's really showing a very human story about our expectations and what we want out of life, and what happens when we don't get those things, or when we do. So I think it's very interesting to see that. So I have great expectations of this book, so I can't wait to read more. So I'm going to end this section, and I'm on page 191, and I'm hoping before the end of the week, which is when I'm going to end this vlog on Friday, I will be completed, and you'll have my final thoughts about this book. So stay tuned. Hi. It is now Saturday morning. I completely got too busy with work to update, so I'm going to update you now. I am on page 271, and Pip, I just want to be a mother to Pip right now. He is making decisions that are not good. He is regretting life and yet doing nothing about it. It's so unfortunate. He's still chasing the same things that he knows, and he even says he knows it's going to make him miserable, and he's doing it anyway. So frustrating. So that's my tip. I really want to be a mother to Pip, and I want to try to straighten him out. It's frustrating, so frustrating, but I am actually loving it. The drama is so good. I love Dickens' prose. Like, his prose is beautiful. Like, I wasn't expecting that. Like, I kind of went in thinking that I wasn't going to like Dickens that much, and I thought, the language could be a little outdated, and I'm not going to enjoy the way he's stating things, the way he's putting things together, but I actually do. I really, really like it. His descriptions are actually very, very nice, which I shouldn't be surprised, because I've heard that before. The descriptions are really good. And his depictions of the good and the bad of the society and of London itself is wonderfully done. And so his prose is surprising, and his humor. He actually made me laugh out loud so far in some of this. So I'm 271, and so hopefully I am a little over halfway. So hopefully I can make some better progress this weekend, and hopefully maybe knock this out sometime soon here, and then we'll wrap this up, and I'll give you my final thoughts on the Great Expectations. So thank you, and I'll be back. Hello, it is Sunday, and I know you want an update on the Great Expectations. I am on page 344. I'm on page 344, and close to the end. And an event that happened at the beginning of this book has now come full circle, and Pip is finding out what his relationship with Estella and with Miss Havisham really is, and I think it's very interesting psychologically, and it's very well written, and there's a lot of tension going on now because some truths are being revealed, and now Pip has to deal with it as, you know, becoming an adult and having to really deal with things on his own. And it's also showing his regret for the way he treated some people in his life that he cared about when he became, you know, a gentleman and all these kinds of things. So it's really interesting to see Pip realize his mistakes, and I like, actually, it's a little mean, I know, but I like seeing Pip taken down a little bit and being like, no, you were naive and you didn't really understand what happiness was and what would make you happy, and what you've got right now isn't making you happy, and now you got to go after what really does make him happy. So I'm excited to see that. And the name Great Expectations is to see those expectations kind of fall in several ways, right? You realize that what you are expecting out of life wasn't exactly what you wanted or needed. After all, you were just going after it because you thought you needed to, or because you felt like that was, what everyone wanted out of life. So of course, that's what you're going to go after. So I like to see Pip starting to become his own person, and he really making real connections. And I don't know, I'm excited to see how he's going to get himself out of the situation now that he's dug himself into a pretty big hole. So we're going to see, and I will check back in whenever I have finished. All right. So we have finally made it, guys. I have completed Great Expectations. And I guess I will answer the question that everyone is probably asking themselves right now. Did Great Expectations meet my expectations? All right. So, to begin with, I want to say that my expectations actually were pretty low. I didn't generally have a good first impression of Dickens when I had read excerpts of him as a child, and so it was kind of skewed, to be honest. But I was a little blown away by Great Expectations. I had a great time. One of many strengths that Dickens has is his characters. His characters are very realistic, fleshed out. It feels really real motivations. They feel like real people. And whether you love them or hate them, they feel very grounded in reality and like the people that you would know. And that makes it a little crazy because you're like, ooh, kind of a reflection that you may not want to see in the mirror for the world, but it's interesting. And another thing that I really, really loved about Dickens is his prose. Some of his prose is really nice, and it's not too heavy-handed. It's not throughout. It's not like every page is prose after prose after prose. So that when he does put prose in there, it's poignant and it does a really, really effective job. And for that point, let's see. Okay. I saw in this that Estella was set to wreak Miss Havisham's revenge on men, and that she was not to be given to me until she had gratified it for a term. I saw in this a reason for her being beforehand assigned to me. Sending her out to attract and torment and do mischief, Miss Havisham sent her with the malicious assurance that she would be on the reach of all admirers, and that all who staked upon the cast were secured to lose. So it gives you her motivation, but it uses some pretty nice language in it as well. And another thing that I really love is the themes that are very relatable even today, right? Like the themes of like how money and power corrupts, and that it doesn't matter your station in life. You can have good and bad people. You can have good and bad people in all walks of life. And also to be true to yourself, and don't ever take for granted the people who love you and because that is that love and that care is not something that money can buy. And whenever bad things happen, which they inevitably will, and no one's life is perfect, the people who love you and you surround yourself with are really what gives your life joy and meaning, and it really enriches your life. So joy, and it doesn't matter the station of people, their hearts, you have to look at people's hearts, and just because that you consider them a high station doesn't mean that they're a good person. It doesn't mean that they're better than you. it at all. They could have, or that they don't have problems, or that they are, above having, real issues in their lives, because everyone has problems. No one's life is perfect, and money can't fix all problems. It can fix a lot of problems. I'm not gonna lie, but it's one of those things to where it's basically saying to find joy and happiness in what you have before reaching for more, because if you can't be happy with what you have, you're not going to be happy any happier with more. Kind of what I was going for. And also to see the corruption that money brings, really big corruption type of idea, and bitterness, and how even love can create bitterness, money can create bitterness, and how that really brings evil into the world, because for revenge and just bitterness against other people. So it was very interesting. It was a much faster read than I thought it was going to be. It was very much engaging, a page turner more than I thought it was going to be. And I 100% enjoyed it. And I think I would give this probably 5 stars. I wasn't expecting it, but 5 stars. 5 out of 5. Really recommend. Enjoyed it all the way. So I am excited to actually see the show, the new Hulu show that is also on this book. So please let me know in the comments below if you have read Great Expectations and what you thought about it. And I will be hopefully back on this channel very soon with either some fantasy updates or some fantasy reading recommendations. So stay tuned. And as always, have an adventure with reading.